Sharp. My husband Matt and I have been at ICC for about a year now. I'm a special education assistant at Elmore Park Middle School in Bartlett. And I'm just kind of here to share what God's been doing in my life recently and really throughout my whole life. I was first thought I was saved when I was in 8th grade about 8 years ago at a revival at Bellevue Baptist Church. Some friends and I decided to go down the aisle and say this prayer and really become Christians and we wanted to be pillars in our school and that kind of thing. So we went down and I thought, this is it. This is what it means to be a Christian and this is who I'm going to be from now on. But of course, I never changed. It kind of fizzled after a while. It was sort of that mountaintop experience and I kind of went back to life as usual. I mean, which wasn't bad. I grew up in a strict Christian home. I was never really surrounded by non-Christians. I went to a private Christian high school, so I was never really challenged in my faith, never really challenged by the words that I said, because I wasn't living any differently than every other Christian. But when I went to college, I went to UT Knoxville, go Vols, and I was really challenged. It was really a wake-up call for me and a culture shock, but I sort of was sucked into that lifestyle. All my friends were in sororities, so we were going out every night, partying. Really, I didn't care about my grades. I just wanted to be cool and fit in and do what everyone else was doing, because all of these were people that said they were Christians in high school, but now we're still Christians, but this is what you do in college. So, it really got out of control. So when I went home for Christmas break, my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, kind of brought me back down to earth and made me realize that the way I was living wasn't how I said I was supposed to be living and wasn't who I was. So I really felt guilty and decided, I'm going to be the good Christian girl that I'm supposed to be. So when I went back, I told all my friends what I decided, and I wasn't really friends with them anymore, and so I kind of got really depressed, didn't have many friends, wasn't really doing anything, so I decided to come home. But when I came back, the depression really didn't go away. It really got worse. So I decided in May of 2012, my husband and I got married, and I thought, this is it. This is what is going to make me happy. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to get married. I've always wanted to get married. This is going to make me happy, but really, it just got worse from there, and I really spiraled out of control. In November, decided that I was suffocating in the marriage. I didn't want to do this anymore. I didn't know who I was. I'd only been a Christian because that's what I had been told, which was true, and I didn't know why I was a Christian, and I didn't have answers for my own questions, and that's where I really got into trouble, and I really spiraled out of control and started going out every night. I moved out of my apartment with my husband and decided that I was going to live on my own and discover who I was, and got a real dependency on drugs and alcohol. I couldn't afford my rent. I was broke, no friends, I had friends, but they weren't real friends. And one day I just woke up and I was alone and lonely and depressed and hated myself, hated my life, and I decided that the worldly life wasn't going to work out anymore. So I was going to go back to being a Christian, and I was going to try again. I was going to start over. And at that point, I was really shown the grace of Christ through my husband and through his unconditional love for me by taking me back, but I just wasn't willing to accept it, I guess, or didn't really understand what was going on. I was too focused on myself. And my depression really kept on, but I wasn't living that lifestyle anymore, but I wasn't really living anything. I started reading actually last week. I decided that I didn't know who I was or what I was doing, but I was going to figure it out. So I started reading Follow Me by David Platt, and that's when I truly started to understand what salvation was, and that salvation isn't just a prayer that you pray, it's surrendering your will and surrendering your plans for God's plans. And that's last Sunday. All the worship songs were about surrendering and what God can do in your life, and that's kind of how I came to this point and how I realized that I will never be truly happy, and I will never be able to save myself, and I can't save myself, and I have to surrender. I had to die to myself and die to my plans and really give over to what God has for my life and what He wants to do with me and how He wants to mold me. And that's where I just want to encourage you that no matter what you try to do for yourself and how you try to better yourself, it will never be satisfying and it will never be fulfilling. You will always want more. But until you sacrifice and until you surrender to your passions, like that, God can use you. And God really has shown me that through this past week and through the people that He's placed in my life, that He has bigger plans for me than I could have ever imagined. And I am so joyful and so hopeful for what the future has in store and what God has in store for my life and my plans. And that's where I truly believe now, and I truly understand now, that surrendering myself and dying to myself and my plans and my desires for my life is where I will try and find true hope and true joy. So, thank you.